the EFCC recently asked bank executives to declare their assets. Now, is this necessary since they're not public officers as defined for the purpose of Code of Conduct?
It is. I think it's one of the measures to also control the bank executives because if you look at the fight against corruption, we are talking about public corruption. But corruption in the private sector is another thing entirely, especially professional bodies. Professional bodies. All these Pandora paper we are talking about, by the time you go deeper, what is the role of lawyers? Because before you go and invest in another country, you must incorporate a company. So what is the role of lawyers? What is the role of tax consultants? What is the role of auditors? Somebody prepares the financial report. So I think EFCC asking bank executives to declare their asset is a welcoming idea too, but can we sustain it? Can we institutionalize it? Because that may be the initiative of the current chairman. So if it is not institutionalized, if another chairman should come on board, can they continue with it? The answer is no. But if it is institutionalized, either as part of our law or part of our policy program, then we can sustain it. But if it is institutional that somebody just sleep and think of an initiative and it put it through, what happened after him? Before NSIP, the social investment program, we've had Shopee. What happened to Shopee? Shopee and NSIP, they are the same thing. But because Shopee was not institutionalized, we felt it's not relevant. Somebody now, we just changed name for the same thing. And I think it is high time we should institutionalize key initiatives that will help us in terms of sustainable development. If you look at fighting corruption, it's part of the SDGs. You will see it under SDG 16. Under peace, good governance, anti-corruption. Anti-corruption was not mentioned clearly under SDG.
Right? Yes.
But SDG 16 is part of good governance. Corruption is part of it. So we should now, Nigerians are not ready to volunteer information. Why? Because we are not protected. No whistleblowing protection for anybody that wants to give information. Ordinary police station, if you report your neighbor to police station, after 3 or 4 days, that person will come to your house and say, so you are the one that went to police and go and report me. Because the IPO will tell him or her, your neighbor was the one that came here to come and report you. So you have to be careful with him.
Terrible.
I stayed in the outskirts of Abuja. I know what we are facing in terms of security. And if you go to police station, you go and report anybody, 3-4 days, they will come back to you and say, so you are the one that went to DPO to go and report us. You will see what we are going to do for you. So can we see, we have been dragging whistleblowing law in this country now for over 16 years now. Up to today, what we have is policy. And the policy is even domiciled within the Ministry of Finance. And to even get into Ministry of Finance headquarters, my sisters, it's terrible.
It's a problem.
Do you get it now? You can see the way we are thinking. Now you have a whistleblowing policy in place and you domicile it in Ministry of Finance. When the Nigerian find it difficult to even access that office. What of if you put it in NOAA's office? NOAA, they have offices across the 477 local governments in Nigeria, 774 local governments. Why not in NOAA? Empower NOAA to do that. Because one of the mandates of NOAA is to publicize policies and programs of government. If you domicile such meaningful policy within National Orientation Agency or Public Complaint Commission, have you been to NOAA's office before? It is open market. Ministry of Finance. Somebody will ask your name. Can we know why you are here? Even if you want to come and report any issue. And we don't have enough infrastructure that support all what we are saying. It is high time for us to use technology to fight corruption.